field of 20 cars has begun to roll away. Behind Johnny Rutherford in the pace car. Marvelous view. Look at those stands. Absolutely jammed here. Now let's take a look. For this Indy 200 at Walt Disney World, the starting field on the pole, Buddy Lazier, his first ever pole in an Indy car. And Roberto Guerrero, a two-time winner in the Indy cars. In the second row, Arie Luyendyk, the winner of the 1990 Indy 500. And Scott Sharp, a two-time Trans Am champion. Row number 3, Buzz Calkins. He spent the last 3 years in Indy Lights. And Davey Hamilton, the former super modified champion, is one of 3 drivers for A.J. Foyt. Row 4, Tony Stewart, who became the first driver to win 3 USAC championships in a single season. And Stan Waddles, a former Formula Atlantic competitor. In the 5th row, Stefan Gregoire. He competed in the 93 Indy 500. And Scott Brayton, who has more Indy 500 starts than any active driver. In the 6th row, Lynn St. James, who started the last 4 Indy 500s. And Mike Groff, who has over 50 career starts in an Indy car. The 7th row is Robbie Buell, the winner of last year's Indy Lights race in Detroit. And Michele Alboreto, the winner of 5 Formula One races, including 2 in the United States. The 8th row, Johnny O'Connell, a former IMSA champion, and John Paul Jr., the winner of the 83 Michigan 500. In the 9th row, Johnny Parsons, the son of the 1950 Indy 500 winner. And Dave Poudrave, he has 8 previous IndyCar starts. The last row, Richie Hearn, last year's Formula Atlantic champion, starting in a backup car. And the 20th position belongs to Eddie Cheever, a 6-time Indy 500 starter, also starting in a backup car as we look at those cars in that very last position. Now let's take a look at our track description presented by True Value. 3 turns here, as Bobby Unser told you. Turn 1, 10 degrees. Turn 2 is 8.5 degree banking. And turn 3, 7 degrees. So very, very flat, but also very fast with some nice long straightaways. The chassis in the race today, we've got Lola's all the way back to a 1992 model and 94 and 95 Reynards. And the tires and engines, Ford Cosworth dominates it here. In the tires, Goodyear dominates. And then there are the rookies here on an oval. Guys with very little experience in starting this kind of race, certainly. And then there is the separation in this field, and a lot of conversation that there's 35 miles an hour difference from the fastest to the slowest cars in the field, 4.7 seconds. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, you talk about rookies. They're not just over the wall in the cockpit of race cars. They're on this side of pit wall as well. You see a lot of the teams have moved up to IRL competition from disciplines that never had pit stops, never needed to take on fuel. So it's all new, and when you get pumped up, the butterflies could become bullets and mistakes could be made. Right, Gary Gerald?
Jack, it could be a huge advantage for the teams that do have experience in this type of competition. They know how to handle the apprehension and the butterflies. And believe me, every driver has said it's difficult to pass in this high-speed oval. If you can gain 1, 2, 3 seconds in the pits, it could make a huge difference in the outcome. It could mean the difference from being in the middle of the field to finishing as a winner or on the victory podium. Let's go back up to Paul.
Of course, we've got plenty of onboard cameras for you. Eddie Cheever starting way back at the back of the field. This is going to provide a fascinating view. And then looking out the back of Michele Alboreto's car. And over the shoulder of Arie Luyendyk. A couple of views on each of these cars for you. As the field aligns behind the pole sitter, Buddy Lazier, his very first race. Johnny Rutherford is the driver of the pace car here, a 3-time Indianapolis 500 champion. They look for that kind of experience up in the front of the field. So for short track enthusiasts around the world, a dream is about to come true. The Indy Racing League is becoming reality as the front row rolls slowly down the long stretch into turn 2, a very sophisticated turn on a beautiful track, engineered here by Kevin Forbes, who did a beautiful job, as you can well see. The cars now begin to pull alignment. Johnny Rutherford in the pace car is well ahead. The pole sitter picks up the pace as they come off of turn 2 and head for turn 3. Watch up in the right-hand corner of the screen. The dream is real. The green flag is out from Dwayne Sweeney, and Buddy Lazier jumps into the lead.
Well, Buddy really jumped that one, Paul. He must have had 10 car lengths of him. I'm surprised they threw that flag out.
Well, I'm surprised, too, but look place was Ari Landijk, moved up as well in front of Roberto.
Ari Landijk drums up from the second row. And he closes in now behind Buddy Lazier as the first lap is already in the record book. 200 miles, 200 laps lie ahead. Everybody was a little apprehensive about the start. Long conversations among drivers and crews as we sit on board now with Ari Landijk.
Yeah, so we all kind of figured that this was the first race. This absolutely is Disney World. They're not going to want to monkey up here or screw up in any way. Buddy Lazier, I know he's capable. I knew he was going to be careful.
All right, we'll take a look from overhead as Buddy Lazier completes the second lap, followed by Landijk, Guerrero, Scott Sharp, and Buzz Calkin. Looking down from the Goodyear blimp over the track, there's first and second.
Paul, that's something that often happens is when everybody's anticipating the worst, everybody gets a little bit cautious and sometimes makes a very conservative start. And I think with that jump there that Buddy got, it spread the field out enough to make it safe.
Yeah, but what it will do for Buddy is mean that very shortly he will actually be getting into the back end of the field.
Now watch right here. You see that grass just to the left of Buddy? That's often where they run down the grass. This is going into turn one right now. Down almost to the white line, not to the grass. They have been doing it out close to the wall. Now watch, this is going in turn two. They're going to go uphill. Look at him, up the hill, down to the apex. That's through turn two. Now straight away. Now watch, really close down the grass right here. Now yesterday, everybody was running into the grass there. That's what caused a lot of the accidents, Paul.
You can see on Lazier's car a tribute to Stan Fox, who has recovered, we understand, almost fully from that accident in Indianapolis last year, and a get well to his dad. Buddy Lazier, boy, I'll tell you what, he's making sure that he is looking super. Now here's an addition this year that we have for you. The top of the screen will give you the lap number of however many there are, 6 of 200, the leader and how much he leads by, and we'll track that all the way around the track. And then on the right side, we'll go through the entire field almost constantly and their interval back from the leader of the race. So we hope that helps.
Also keep in mind, qualifying speeds were 181 plus miles an hour. We're going to be watching during the race how they do with that. Right now, their fuel loads, of course, are very full because they're going to be going for around 60 to 65 laps before the first pit stop.
I think one other thing, too, you're going to probably see some conservative speeds, Bobby, because these guys are trying to get to the finish. You heard what Richie Hearn said about he just wants to get this one under his belt. They all want to score some points. And I think you're going to see a fairly conservative race.
And then you've got a guy like Buddy Lazier, who really has done well by sitting on the pole and has a record, wants to win.
Of course, Richie Hearn, he started 19th. He's already up to 12th place. Eddie Cheever's been a little more conservative. He's only come up to 17th position. And already we have a driver out, Jack. We understand that Dave Coudrave, who they may not have intended to run a great distance here. They wanted to make sure that he had a full understanding of running these ovals. And they've been very solid, the officials, the USAC officials, about telling people that aren't ready, wait a little bit. Jack?
Well, you're absolutely right. David, this was a learning experience for you this weekend, but you got to start the race. Not a mechanical problem. Let's get some more experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to come here and get some more experience on this track, but as you know, I've started about 8 of these oval events, so, but the team is very new, and I was very new to the car and track, so.
What does the IRL mean to you?
It's a new opportunity. For me, it's an opportunity to drive again.
Paul?
So the opportunity passed already, but you'll see a lot of Dave Coudrave. There's no doubt about that. Richie Hearn, still on the fly, has moved up to 9th position as Buddy Lazier is chopping through this field and now having to move past some of the slower cars in the field. So already we have that wonderful characteristic, the 1 mile oval of traffic everywhere and plenty of action in this, the inaugural event of the Indy Racing League here at Walt Disney World. We'll be right back.